1969, I was employed with a company, a pharmaceutical company, and I was an advertising specialist. And that meant I would take a product that the company had and figure out how the best way to sell it. And I became very good at it, to the point that I received a lot of promotions and a lot of money, and to the point that we were able to build a brand new house, and I could buy Judy a nice new car, and we were living the good life, what everybody wanted to live. But one Sunday afternoon, my pastor upset that situation. He made a visit to our house. He was a pastor that always called on the folks in the hospital on Sunday afternoon, and he drove up my driveway. And I'm watching the Dallas Cowboys, and he came in for a visit. Now, rather than to embarrass him, I slid my beer behind the couch. And he came in, and after a few minutes, we talked football. And then he finally got around to his subject matter. He says, Jim, he was a pastor that built his church on Sunday school. And he says, Jim, I got 3 boys, and they need a Sunday school teacher. He said, they're all junior and seniors, and he says, I think you'd make a good mentor. He says, you're a college graduate, you attend church, love the Lord. He said, you got a lot of things you could give these boys. Well, I didn't think so, and I tried to put him off. And my wife was in the kitchen saying, oh, yes, yes, yes. Well, to get rid of him, really, because I was watching a good football game, I agreed that, okay, I'll try this. And he quickly said, okay, I'll get you a manual before the week was out. Well, like most Sunday school teachers, Saturday nights when they prepare their lessons. So I sat down with that manual, and I made a very dangerous prayer. And I said this, Lord, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Whatever I try to teach these boys, I'll try to live myself. And I said, that began to transform my life. And I said, immediately, within weeks, my value system started flip-flopping. And things began to change in me. And I knew something was going on. Well, right in the middle of that, on August the 1st, 1969, I'm in the middle of 3 weeks of vacation with this company. And I had just completed 1 week of fishing. And I caught the largest largemouth bass that I ever caught. But the next morning, I'm very depressed. And Judy said, what's wrong? I said, honey, I can't believe next week I've got to go back selling pills again. I said, I know it's Jesus that people need and not my pills that I'm selling. She said, why don't you go down and talk to the pastor again? I said, honey, it's Friday afternoon. That man's trying to finish up and get out of the church. She said, I'll go talk to him. So I went down, and Brother Bob said, come on in. He was a very gracious man. And he asked me a question. He says, what's bothering you? I said, Brother Bob, I know God's got something for me to do, but I don't know what it is. I wish I knew what it is. He says, Jim, God doesn't work that way. I said, what do you mean he doesn't work that way? He says, you've got to say yes to what he's got for you before he'll ever tell you what it is or lead your life. I said, you mean I've got to sign on the contract before I know what it is? And he said, yes. Well, it didn't really totally make sense, but I took his leadership. And I said, what do I do next? He said, let's pray. So we got on our knees and we prayed. When I got up from that prayer, I had the first filling of the Holy Spirit I ever had in my life. I said, I didn't jump any pews and I didn't turn a somerset, but I knew in my heart I was being obedient to what God wanted. And then he asked me a question. He says, when the pharmaceutical company hired you, what did they do with you? I said, they sent me off to school. He says, God's got to train you. He's got to send you off to school. He said, let me recommend that you check out Southeastern Bible College. He says, they cater to families. And he said, you've got a family, go check them out. I said, okay. So on the way home, I had direction. I knew what I was going to do. I get home and Judy says, well, how did that go? And I said, oh, honey, let me tell you what we're going to do. We're going to sell out and go to Bible college. And she said, uh-oh, you've gone too far. And all she could think of, we're selling this house that we just designed and this car I love. And I'm 3 miles from my mother. And what do you mean we're going to change all of this? And you know, that morning in my devotions, in Matthew 10:36, the Lord gave me a verse which helped me all day long. The verse said, out of your own household you shall find opposition. Well, I said, honey, let's go to Birmingham and just check this school out. I got another week of vacation. She said, no, I'm not interested. I said, honey, you know my brother is getting ready to go to Vietnam. He's training there at Selma. We can go see them for a couple of days and then just go to Birmingham and check out the school. Well, that convinced her that maybe we could do that. We decided we'd take our oldest son. He was 2 years old. He would like looking at the airplane. But we had an 8-month-old daughter. And I said, well, listen, Mom and Dad would take care of the daughter. Let's go ask her. So we went down to see Mom and Dad, and Dad's in there playing with this new granddaughter, just having a great time, throwing her up in the air. And then all of a sudden I said, Dad, would you watch her? I'm going to go check out a new school. He said, oh, the company's sending you to another school, and they had sent me to 2 other colleges. And I said, no, Dad, I'm going to quit my job and go into the ministry. And he looked at me and he said, I've raised a fool. And he gave me back my daughter, and he turned around and he didn't speak to me for 4 years. Out of your own household, you shall find opposition. Now that was hard, because my dad and I were very close. And that was really a tough thing. Then about 2 weeks later, I'm calling on a doctor that never wanted to talk to me. And he left a note with a receptionist, and he says, when Harper comes by, tell him I want to see him. So the next time I went in there, I knew he was a kind of a quasi-missionary that always went to Mexico, and I knew he wanted me to unload my trunk and give him every sample I had. That's all I could think of he wanted. So I went in there, and Dr. Hall said, how is Judy taking this idea of going to Bible college? I said, Dr. Hall, she's giving me a fit. She doesn't want to do this. He said, Jim, let me tell you something. He says, 20 years ago, I was called to be a missionary in Mexico. And he says, I pushed my wife too hard, and she ended up in a mental hospital. He says, Jim, just love her. If God's called you, he'll call her. Just wait. Some of the best advice I ever received. And so sure enough, it took a year for God in a supernatural way to call her. And so we spent that year sort of waiting to see how that was going to go. Meanwhile, I'm still getting ready. We're going to go to Bible college. And this was the goal, this was the plan. And as the year went around, we saw God doing this. And then God answered one of the prayers that was really special. About the time we had our house sold and we're getting ready, and we're having our utilities, cut off and all of this, I had a phone bill that I couldn't pay. I just didn't have the money for that phone bill. It was $68.27, and I couldn't find that anywhere. Well, Sunday night after church, my mother called and she said, Jim, Miss Tom has got to see you in the morning. Now, Miss Tom ran a little small restaurant, a little small stove, and she fixed breakfasts and lunches with people, and that's all she did. So I went by to have coffee, and I sat down at the table, I sat down on the bench, and she came over and she said, I'll be with you in a minute. And she stuck a check in my pocket. And she said, I was praying last night about you, and God said you needed that. And I opened up the check, and it was $68.27. And I said, Tom. And she said, I always pray at night. God will show me exactly what people need. Now, I'm going to tell you something, Trevor. That was a prayer that lasted me up till today. I saw that God could do exactly what he needed to do in my life. And it was amazing to see this. Now, I had another thing I had to do before we got ready for Bible college. I had not treated Judy's mother right. I had formed a judgment on her. Judy's dad had died and left her insurance, and she took the insurance and and drank it up and spent it carousing around with men and bad investments, and I just was judgmental. That's all I was judgmental. And God brought such a conviction in my heart that I had to clear that up before I went to Bible college. And I went down, this was 2 weeks before we left, and I went down and I sat down and I confessed this to her and told her I was sorry that I had not treated her right. And all of a sudden she started crying. And I said, "What's the matter, Daphne?" And she said, they're going to take my house from me in a couple of weeks. And I didn't want to see that happen. I said, "How much money do you need?" And it was all the money I had in my pocket. And I had saved that money for our trip to Birmingham. It was going to pay for the U-Haul and other things we needed. So I took all the money I had and gave it to her. And I felt like when I left the house there that I had settled the debt. That I had settled the debt between us and between what she needed. And so we got, I went home and I told Judy that, and I said, "Now, honey, we got 3 weeks before school starts." So we were already beginning to pack, and I stopped by the pharmacy to see one of my close friends before. Matter of fact, I worked 9 years in pharmaceutical work, and this was the first drugstore I worked in, and I stopped by to tell him goodbye. He had been an elder in our church. And when I walked in, his wife sitting over here dusting some whatnots. And she looked at me and she said, "You told everybody a year ago you were going off to Bible college. I don't think you'll ever do that." And I said, "Yeah, I'm going." She said, "No, the next thing you know, Judy will be pregnant and you won't ever go." Well, boy, that created a head of steam in me. I'm going to Bible college. And I went home and said, "We're packing up, we're going." And she said, "I'm pregnant." Well, we did pack up. We took off. 2 kids, a third one on the way, no insurance, no support, no nothing. All we had was God. And we took off in our U-Haul that we rented. When we got to Birmingham, we backed the U-Haul up to this old house that I had rented across the street from the school. It was Saturday evening. We parked it. We took the plug from the deep freeze out and plugged in the deep freeze, went to a motel with the idea on Sunday morning I would find all kind of students to help me unload the U-Haul. I get over there on Sunday morning at Bible college, everybody's gone. They're all gone to church, they're doing their Christian service, there wasn't a person around. And I needed help. I only had 3 hours before I had to turn that truck in. About that time, a black man walked down the street. And Judy says, "There goes your help." I said, "Man, honey, no, that guy looks like he's going somewhere." 10 minutes later, he comes walking back. And Judy said, "You better ask him to help you." So I went over there and I said, "Would you like to make a few bucks?" And he said, "Yes," because I came to mow a lady's yard and she wasn't there. I said, "How about helping me?" I said, "You see that U-Haul? I got just a little time to unload it. You think you can help me?" He said, "Yeah, I just got laid off from United Van Lines." He took that hand truck, and within 2 hours, he unloaded 3 stories of furniture. That guy knew what he was doing. He didn't need me. I just stood around. Man, he just boop, 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 boop. We fed him supper. We drove him across town to where he lived. And before we got there, my son and I pulled over the side of the road and led him to the Lord. Now, this is my first episode of telling my story of how God has worked in my life. Now, I've got other episodes, so it didn't stop there. God kept working in our lives. And hopefully, I want people to look at this, and I want your response. I want you to see if this touched your heart, and this shows you how God can work.